Hello, everybody. After we've been able to give labels to the data set, we can also select individual data set, individual label to know the values in it. Let's say, for example, I want to know what is the value for the height. Let's say the height of Sheon, for example. I would say I would print my data set. I will print my data set. Then after typing my data set, I would open an angle bracket and I will put the quotation and I will type shown. So when I run it, it's going to give me the value of shown if it's actually correct. So I think it's been since yesterday I worked on it. So I need to rerun all of the cells again. That's something about notebook. So I need to run all the cells again. So now these are the data set. So now it's going to give me something. So this is what happens when you leave notebook for some time. It usually dies. So you have to, the kernel dies. So you have to wake the kernel up again. And that's what you do. You just have to run all of the cells. You can run the cells from the top. You can run all of the cells at the same time. That's from the notebook. So since I've not written much, so that's the reason I'm running them individually. So now we can also do some other practice. We can as well, if let's say for example you want to get you want to get more data sets, so you can do the same. Let's say you want to get for bright two, you can just replace the shell with a bright, and it's going to give you the size of bright. But sometimes people would say, what about if I want to get two at the same time? Although sometimes it depends on what kind of data set you work with. If you're working with a data set with a what is a string, it might not work that way. So you have to do each individually. So you have to repeat this word my data set before you type bright. But so if you want to print statement in Python, you can just say print something, comma something. But when you want to print two values from a data set like this, from a data frame, you would have to repeat my data set a second time. So let's say you want to print another one, let's say Ali. So it's going to print for you the value of shown and the value of bright and the value of Ali. So this is how it works that way. So let's see some other examples before we move on to the next level. Let's say, for example, we went to the medical doctor, and we said we want the doctor to keep track of my weight for 3 months. So the doctor would type weight. It would open a curly bracket. So in the curly bracket, it would write the months. So it would write the months. You can say you can name it with, let's say, January. So you're gonna separate the month with the value with the colon. You weigh 75 kg. Then you would separate the values with the comma. Then next month, February, you use the word FEB. Then you use the colon to separate it. Then you give it a value of, let's say you increase in weight. And then in March, you became 79. And in April, let's say 4 months, in April, you became 84 or 89. So this is a data set, which is more of something that looks like a dictionary. So you have the month and you have the value. So it's just like a key value data set. So what exactly do you want to do? You want to put it in the Panda series because you can put any data in Panda series. You can put any data in Panda series. So what do? You call my weight. My weight is equals to PD dot series. So Panda dot series. So you open a parenthesis, weight. So then you will run it. If there's no problems, everything is fine, you won't see any error. So now let's see how it looks after you made it in form of a Panda series. So you type my weight and you run it, and it's going to print out the value for you. So it's put everything in form of a Panda series. So this is the way Panda series usually work. Let's say you want to get a value for only 2 months, maybe January and April. So what do? So you would you would label, you would say my weight underscore Jan underscore April. Don't mind this is my name of my variable. It's a bit long. So then you can print, you can say my weight. As I said, my weight, comma, the index is equals to Jan, index equals to Jan, then comma, then April. Don't mind this suggestion. It's very confusing sometimes because sometimes it's not exactly what you want to do that is bringing up. So this is why no matter how much AI is helpful, it can be a problem sometimes. So, so what do you do here? Mind you want to is you want it to be in the form of pandas, panda series. So you have to say a PD dot series. So you should always remember to put that your panda series there. Then you quote these two. So once you put a quotation like this, so you try to get only the values for January and April. So then you can copy his name. Don't mind his name. You can reduce the April to APR. So it is your own suggestion. So whatever you call it is going to work for you. So you say print my weight January April. So when you run it, you want to print for you the value of January and the value of April. So this is an amazing work which we can do with Panda data series. Okay, now let's move on to, I mentioned to you before, the Panda series is just like one column of one column data set. So it's going to only give you one column. So let's work with data frame itself. Data frame is a Panda data type, which is going to give you two-dimensional data structure. So it's going to give you two-dimensional data structure. Let's say, for example, I want to deal with the data. This data, I want it to have two values. One value is light intensity, and one value is light intensity, and the other value, let me give the values of my variable. So let's say we have 20, we have 30, we have 40, we have 50, we have 60, we have 70. So you will separate the two using a comma. So the next one we want to study is going to be number of bubbles released, number of bubbles. So the number of bubbles released is going to be, let's say, let's just give it like 1 to 11, because you can't release 10 bubbles at the same time, most especially when the light intensity is not very strong. Let's say 2 bubbles, then 4 bubbles, 7 bubbles, 9, then 10, then 12. Mind you, Whenever you want to generate a data frame, the number of variables, the number of instances, like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, you count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The number of bubbles which you want to compare with it must be 6 too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you have something less than 6, it's not going to work the way you want it. So that's the reason you need to be always very careful when you're working with a Pandas data frame. So what do you do now? You want to print let me give instruction. So you're going to load data into a data frame. You load into a data frame object. So how do you do that? Equal df is equals to pd dot data frame. Then what is the name of your data? The name of my data is data. So after I've done this, let me run it to see if everything is working fine. So everything seems okay. So then I would print my df. So I would print my df. So now this is my data. It looks very beautiful. So I've got two dimensional. I've got the first one is the light intensity, and the second one is the number of bubbles released, which is number of oxygen released as intensity increases. As you can see, as intensity increases, the number of bubbles increases. When we start with NumPy and we start to give visualization, you would have more fun with this kind of data set. Another thing we can do is you can locate one specific index. You want to see the sample you want to see the full time you did it, what was the value, what was the light intensity, and what was the number of bubbles. So what do? It's pretty easy. You just set print data frame. You print data frame, but what data frame do I want to see? Look, the fourth one. So the fourth one is going to be 3 because this is Python. As I told you before, Python is known to have start with a zero indexing. So because Python is starting with zero indexing, the fourth value, the fourth test is going to be number 3. So which is going to be 50 and 9. So when you run this, it's going to give you, this is supposed to be in angle bracket. So 3. So when you run this, it's going to give you number of bulb intensity is going to be 50, and the number of bubbles is 9. So this is amazing. So what is the next thing we want to do? We can try to print two values at the same time. We want to see the two values. For example, we want to see value number 2 and value number 4. We want to see the third one, and we want to see the fifth one. So what do? You do the same print df, the data frame dot location. So you're gonna open more angle bracket, because now you want to work with two values. So you've got to open two angle bracket. So you're at 2, which is the third one, separate with a comma, and 4, which is the fifth one. So when you run this, then it's going to give you this, only the 2 and the 4th. So this is what we call sampling, because sometimes you can have a very long data set and you don't want to use everything. You want to sample from the long data set, a kind of small values. So we call that sampling in statistics. So you want to sample with just like 10 or 3 or 5 to represent the large population of something. So this is how we do that in Pandas data frame. So we can as well improve. We can do more things. You can try to find your age. You can find your height. You can try to use the Pandas data frame in more instances. but this is exactly what how we do it. So now after this, we would be moving on to how we can import, we can bring in data from a CSV. We want to use a CSV file to actually analyze the data in it. This is what we call a data. This is what makes you to become a data analyst. So you have so much data collected today. We have some of them on the cloud. We have some of them in different places. You need to be very, very keen at getting this data and being able to analyze it. I will stop here. I wish to see you again. Have a nice day.